G'day to my Year 10 legends and welcome back to Term 2. Welcome to the McGrathematics channel. Hope you guys had a really relaxing break and you kicked your feet up, but now you're ready to rip back into some numbers. Alright, our new topic for this term is going to be measurement. Hopefully most of these concepts you'd be familiar with because you would have visited them in Year 9 and possibly Year 8, but yeah, just going to do a bit of a refresh of the basic skills so we can move on to something a little bit more challenging. Okay, today our lesson is on converting lengths. Okay, so mainly between centimeters, meters, and kilometers. Okay, so to do this, we need to figure out how to convert. Okay, so first of all, my first question for you is, how many millimeters are there in 1 centimeter? Okay, so questions like these are really important for anyone who's thinking of going into a trade, because on the work site, nothing is in centimeters or meters, everything is in millimeters. So if your boss says this is 370 mil, you've got to know what that means. Okay, so you need to know that 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. Okay, 1 centimeter, 10 millimeters. My next question for you is, how many centimeters are there in 1 meter? Most people probably know this one. The answer is 100. 1 meter, 100 centimeter. Okay, just like there's 100 cents in a dollar, there's 100 centimeters in a meter. Okay, the logic makes sense. For the next one, I want you to think how many meters make up 1 kilometer. If I said I was going to give you 5k in money, most people can tell me that means 5,000. K often represents 1,000 in mathematics. Okay, so 1 kilometer, K represents 1,000, so it is 1,000 meters. Okay, so using those 3 facts, we're going to sort of build what's called a conversion chart here. So using these numbers, we're going to figure out, first of all, let's start over on the right here. Let's figure out how you would get from kilometers to meters. Right, let's look at our numbers. 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters. So the number is going from 1 to 1,000, which means it's being multiplied by 1,000. Okay, if you had 5 kilometers, 5 times 1,000 is 5,000, so you get 5,000 meters. Okay, so the number from kilometers to meters is timesing by 1,000. Let's do the next one. Meters to centimeters is going from 1 meter to 100 centimeters. So 1 to 100, so we're timesing by 100. Okay, don't need that. And the last one, to go from centimeters to millimeters, 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters, so that is multiplying by 10. Okay, cool. So that's our guide for going from kilometers all the way down to millimeters. So if I gave you 2 kilometers to get to millimeters, you would just need to do 2 times 1,000 times 100 times 10, and you get a really big number, and it'd be your answer. Okay. Now if we want to go the opposite way, if we start with millimeters to centimeters, 10 millimeters is 1 centimeter. So from going from millimeters to centimeters, we're going from 10 to 1, which means we are dividing by 10. I'm just going to change the color real quick. Yep, that'll do. Okay, so from millimeters to centimeters, you're going the opposite way. So instead of multiplying, you are dividing. Okay, and that pattern is going to be continuing the whole way through. If you want to go from a bigger number to a smaller number, you need to divide. So this one will be divided by 100. And our last one is divided by 1,000. So if you're taking notes, it'd be a pretty good idea to jot this down so you can use this when we do our examples for today. Okay, that's our conversion chart for lengths. Okay, so for some examples, first one we've got is we're going to convert 760, let's get a red pen. We're going to convert 760 millimeters to centimeters. Let's have a look at our chart. From millimeters to centimeters, we need to divide by 10. So if you've got a calculator with you, you can do 760 divided by 10. Okay. And if we do that, we get an answer of 76. So 760 millimeters is 76 centimeters. Okay, starting off pretty easy, going to get pretty hard towards the end. Next one, we're going from meters to millimeters. So we're doing 2 jumps here. We're going from meters down to millimeters. Okay, so to go from meters to centimeters, we're multiplying by 100 and then multiplying by 10 to get to millimeters. Okay, so we're going to do our 83 meters times by 100 will give you centimeters, and then times by 10 will give you your millimeters. So what we're really doing is multiplying by 1,000, okay, because that's what 10 times 100 is. Okay, so if we do 83 times 10, times 100 times 10, we will get 83,000. And that's millimeters. Okay, and that is actually something that you can do in one jump if you're really clever, because from meters to millimeters is just multiplying by 1,000. Okay, that's what milli actually means. It means 1,000th. Okay, just like milliliters and liters, the conversion is 1,000. It's the same thing from meters to millimeters. It's just that we needed something in between because meters is too big to measure stuff that's like the size of a hand, but millimeters is too small. So that's why we use centimeters quite often. Okay. For our third one, we're converting 4,595 meters to kilometers. So let's have a look at our chart. Meters to kilometers, we need to divide that by 1,000. Alright, so we're going to do 4,595. If we divide it by 1,000, it'll turn it into kilometers for us. Alright, so again, you can do this on your calculator. It should give you an answer of 4.595 kilometers. Okay. Alright, for the fifth one, we're doing 18.5 kilometers to centimeters. This one's got a couple of jumps. We're going to go from kilometers to centimeters. So we're multiplying by 1,000 to get to meters, and then multiplying by 100 to get to centimeters. Okay, so we're going to do 18.5 times 1,000 to get to meters, and then times 100 to get to centimeters. Alright, so let's have a think. 18.5 multiplied by 1,000 will be 18,500, so 18,500. Times that by 100 again, adding on 2 zeros. So what are we doing here? We're going to be multiplying by a factor of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to have 1.85 million. Let me just double check that before I make an absolute goose out of myself. Yeah, we get 1,850,000. Very big answer. And that's in centimeters. Okay, so it's a really big number because centimeters are really small, so that equates to 18.5 kilometers. Alright, and for the fifth one, we've got convert 1 millimeter to kilometers. This is a bit of a tricky one. We've got to go millimeters all the way up to kilometers. So we're doing divide by 10, divide by 1,000, divide by 100, and then divide by 1,000. So we've got to do all 3 steps. That's going to be a very small decimal answer. So let's have a look. So we're doing our 1 millimeter, divide by 10 to get to centimeters, divide by 100 to get to meters, and then divide by 1,000. Let's just double check that. So we started with millimeters, divide by 10, divide by 100, divide by 1,000. Okay. Let's just chuck this into a calculator very quickly, see how many zeros we've got in this decimal. Alright, my calculator is saying that we end up with 0.000001 kilometers. Okay, so So that is a very, very small amount of kilometers because it's just one tiny little millimeter. Okay, so there is that conversions. If you struggle with your conversions, that is my advice. Always just write out your base conversions and just follow along with the numbers. And then if you do the hard work first, the questions are really, really easy. Okay, so yeah, always write down your base conversions is my advice. All right, finishing off with our last example, we have a can of Coke is 130 millimeters tall. Actually measured one in my house, it's pretty accurate. Shaquille O'Neal from Google is 0.00216 kilometers tall. Okay, so typically you don't measure people in kilometers, that's why it's a bit of a weird question, but if I stacked 17 Coke cans on top of each other, would it be taller than the Big Shaq? Okay, so if a can of Coke is 130 mils, Shaquille O'Neal is 0.00216 kilometers tall. If we had 17 Coke cans, would it be taller than 0.00216 kilometers? Okay, so the reason this question is kind of confusing is because everything's in different units. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do to handle this is we're going to try and write 130 millimeters and 0.00216 kilometers in the same units. Let's pick something in the middle. Let's go with centimeters. Okay, so we're going to write 130 millimeters in centimeters. Okay, if we do our conversion chart, it'll say we need to divide by 10. So we're just going to do divide by 10. And we'll get an answer of 13 centimeters. Okay, let's see how many centimeters 0.00216 kilometers is. Alright, so we'll do Alright, so if we want to turn that into meters, so if we want to go from kilometers to meters, we need to times by 1,000. And then if we want to go from meters to centimeters, we need to times by 100. Okay, so if you do 0.00216 multiplied by 1,000 and then multiply by 100, you will get 216 centimeters. Which is actually true. This guy's massively tall. Alright, so now the question is much simpler because they're both in centimeters. Now we just got to say if we did 17 lots of this, is it going to be taller than 216? Let's have a look. So we'll do 13 centimeters. We're stacking 17 of them, so we'll do times by 17. Alright, let's grab our calculators and see what we get. We get an answer of 221 centimeters, which means that if we compare this with 216, we are bigger. So there you go, an age-old question answered. If you stacked 17 Coke cans on top of each other, it would be taller than Shaquille O'Neal. Okay? Alright, that's it for me today. There'll be some practice questions of this stuff on MathSpace for you guys to have a go at. If you get stuck and need help, as always, send me an email and I'll help you out ASAP. Thanks very much for watching. Hope you learned something and I'll see you guys next time.